This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 2 of our series, Critical Thinking, Evaluate Claims Like a Pro. In this episode titled, Claims and Evidence, What Makes an Argument Strong?, we'll uncover the essential components that turn a simple claim into a compelling argument. So, if you've ever wondered what really makes an argument stand out, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Only about 1 in 10 high school students can spot a reliable source online. Yet every day, we silently trust headlines, influencers, and studies say claims. A friend shares a shocking chart. A boss cites research. A podcast makes a bold promise. Which one deserves your belief? That constant stream of claims forms the background noise of modern life. Nutrition tips in your feed, bold productivity hacks at work, confident opinions in group chats. Most float past unchecked, shaping what you buy, how you vote, even how you see yourself. The real puzzle isn't whether people are arguing, it's how rarely we stop to ask, how strong is this argument, really? Strength here isn't about volume, confidence, or charm, it's about structure. A precise claim, solidly backed, can look almost modest on the surface, yet be far more powerful than a flashy but hollow assertion. And that matters because decisions, personal, professional, political, quietly rest on whoever's argument we treat as strongest, whether or not it deserves that trust. Yet most of us were never taught a systematic way to judge arguments. We just pick up habits from parents, teachers, or whoever sounded most convincing. That's risky in a world where false information can be deliberately polished to look authoritative. Strong arguments aren't just good points. They're claims carefully trimmed to a clear focus, supported by evidence that can survive scrutiny, and tied together by reasoning you can actually follow. Think of scrolling through your feed like walking a crowded marketplace. Every stall is shouting for your attention, but only a few are offering goods that won't fall apart once you take them home. Strong arguments start with disciplined claims. Not big, not dramatic, disciplined. Social media is destroying our attention is foggy. Daily social media use above 2 hours is associated with lower reading test scores in U.S. teens is something we can actually probe. It's specific, who, what, where. Testable, you could look for the data, and limited, teens, reading, a rough time threshold. The tighter the claim, the easier it is to check, and the harder it is to hide weak support. Next comes evidence, which is more than just a lot of stuff. 3 questions do most of the work. 1. How was this information produced? A randomized trial, a quick online poll, a personal diary, a company's internal metric? Methods determine how much weight the evidence can carry. 2. Who benefits if this is believed? A nutrition claim from an independent review and the same claim from a company selling supplements don't have equal stakes. That doesn't automatically disqualify the company, but it raises the bar for scrutiny. 3. How well does it match the claim's scope? If the claim is about all workers, but the data are only from a tech startup in one city, there's an extrapolation step that needs to be made explicit, not smuggled in. Then there's the reasoning, the part most people skip right over. Toulmin's model is helpful here. You have the claim, the evidence, data, and then the warrant, which is the general rule that tells you why this evidence should support that claim. If someone says, "This productivity app boosted my output, therefore it will help your whole team," the hidden warrant might be, "People work alike enough that my experience predicts yours." You can now poke at it. Are they actually similar to your team? Same tasks, pressures, constraints? Good reasoning also shows its own vulnerabilities. It notes exceptions. This may not apply to high-risk patients. Flags assumptions. This assumes users follow the instructions, and faces counter-evidence instead of pretending it doesn't exist. When retractions in science rise, it doesn't mean nothing is trustworthy. It shows that self-correction is part of serious evidence. Robust arguments make room for that. They're built to be updated, not worshipped. In practice, evaluating a claim means shifting from, "Do I like this?" to, "Could this survive cross-examination?" The more explicitly you can state the claim, describe the evidence, and spell out the warrant, the less power vague persuasion has over you. You're scrolling a product page and see, "Best keyboard ever, 5 stars." That's not a strong argument. It's a foggy claim plus thin evidence. Sharpen it. "This keyboard reduces my typing errors by about 20% compared with my old laptop keyboard, measured over a week of timed typing tests." Now you have something checkable, a clear metric, comparison, and time frame. Next, you'd ask, how did they measure errors? One person or many? Any pressure to exaggerate? Sponsored review? Affiliate link? Or take a manager pitching new software. Teams using SyncFlow close projects 30% faster, according to a 2023 internal report across 12 departments. Better. To test it, you'd want to know, were teams randomly assigned? Did other changes happen at the same time? Staffing? Budgets? Is the warrant that faster completion equals better outcomes actually true in your context? Or does rushing create costly mistakes later? When the claim, evidence, and warrant all tighten up like this, persuasion stops being a vibe and starts being something you can dissect. Soon, you may check a claim the way you check a map, glance at an AI overlay that color codes the support behind it. Helpful, but whoever controls that overlay shapes what solid looks like. Your best defense is learning to cook from scratch. See the raw ingredients of a claim, not just the polished dish. As schools add argument labs and policymakers rely on living evidence, the real skill will be staying curious enough to revisit conclusions when the data menu changes. Strong arguments won't arrive pre-labeled. They'll feel ordinary, like a well-made meal that just sits right. As you notice which claims keep holding up over time, you'll start trusting patterns, not personalities. The real shift isn't becoming cynical, it's becoming curious enough to ask, what would I need to see to change my mind? Start with this tiny habit. When you hear or read a strong opinion, on a podcast, news article, or social media, quietly ask yourself, what's the actual evidence they gave? And name just one piece, a statistic, an example, an expert, or a study. If you can't spot even one, simply say in your head, right now this is just a claim for me. Once a day, when you make your own claim, like, this policy is unfair, or that product is the best, add one quick because sentence that includes a concrete example or source you can actually point to. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow.